Hello everyone, in this video I'll be doing a character creation guide for Baldur's Gate 3. Now this was requested of me and I have made a lot of different Tavs and Dark Urges in my time, so I wanted to help out. If you've never made a character before, or if you have and you want to make it look better, this is going to be the guide for you. So one thing I just want to start with is we got Will at home. So creating a custom character, you can do that with the Dark Urge or the custom starting origin. Now, starting off with races, we got a bunch of different ones, and they all come with their own unique advantages. So, I think like an elf will have proficiency with long swords, short bows, and long bows, gives you dark vision up to 12 meters, and then the Fey ancestry giving advantage in saving throws against being charmed. Magic can't put you to sleep. There's a ton of different ones here. A lot of classes actually get the dark vision, which is nice there. And some will get more movement speed. Also, the subclass of your your subrace will give you different skills as well. The Zerial Tiefling gives you Thaumaturgy, but you also get Smites, which are very powerful. So I'm going to be doing this with a half-elf. That's one of my favorites. I like elves, half-elves, and of course just plain old humans. What's nice about humans is they get select additional skill to be proficient in, and they also get weapon proficiency in spears, pikes, halberds, and glaives, and armor proficiency with light armor and shields. Shields being a huge one because for some classes that don't get shields, it's nice to be able to add one and get a couple extra armor class. But for the purpose of this video, we'll do a half-elf. We'll just keep it simple. Then you do get some choices here. There's high half-elves, wood elves, which give you increased movement speed, always a nice thing. And then the drow will get a little bit of an increased dark vision range. I personally like high half-elves. Being able to get firebolt as a utility cantrip is really nice. Sometimes there's areas that you can explode or set on fire, and it's nice just to be able to do that. So this does scale off intelligence, meaning it's only going to be likely useful for a wizard, but as we get into this, you can choose different cantrips, but I think that Firebolt is kind of the best one here. Now, getting into your classes, I got a ton of build guides on different classes, so you can go check those out. For the purpose of this video, we're just going to keep it quite simple. We'll go with like a fighter, because the fighter is pretty straightforward as a class. You get to choose your level 1, so the fighting style. I'm a big fan of defense, but if you're going to use 2-weapon fighting, great weapon fighting. We're going to get into editing appearance, so that's a really big thing. Our background is going to give us some different options for dialogue later on in the game. So it's really nice. Pick something that feels comfortable for your role playing. And then for our ability score, this is going to really depend on classes that you select. Even numbers are preferred here because you only get proficiency bonuses. So see strength there, +3, but if we were to take it down to 16, it still has that +3. So that's something to note. You can increase it in Act 1 to +1 to make it an 18. So depending on your class, it's going to put a star beside the stat that's going to be your main focus. Constitution's all about health, so that's another one that you usually want to focus on too. And Charisma's nice too, but there's the Sorcerer, the Warlock, the Paladin, and the Bard that use this as their main casting spell. Charisma's good if you're the face of the party, but we're going to get into creating a character because this is what was requested of me. So in order to make your character look good, you have to experiment. And first, starting with the general options here, you have non-binary, male or female. There's a couple different choices for voices there. You can change the body type too. So there's body type, basically female, male, and then a larger size of them. So I personally like going with like the larger ones. I don't know, it just feels cooler having a tall character. Next is picking your face, and I think that this one's important whenever you have your hair selected, so we may come back to this. I personally think that this one's probably one of my favorite female faces. I end up using this one in a lot of my characters. You can choose your skin tone here. If you're a drow, it's going to be a little bit darker like that. Just really depends how you want your character to look. You can choose different scars on their faces. You can make them look a little bit more mature. Freckles, freckle intensity, and then vitiligo. You get different options there for just the overall first appearance there. There's some body art, which is pretty cool, so you can have different tattoos. Some of them are a little intense, making you look like Deadpool. But I typically like to add some of these, depending like if you're a monk or a paladin. Some of these can actually have some nice flair to the character, and you can also bring down the intensity there with the color selection. You can also pick up some piercings, which are kind of hard to see because of the hair selection, but we'll see that in a moment. But there are some really cool body tattoos that you can get on your character. Now, eye selection. There's a bunch of different eye colors, and you can even choose this here to get even even more, because some of them are specific to races. So you can see there, like the dark eyes, that's for like the tieflings. So you can, if you wanted to go outside of the regular, but you can leave that unchecked for most of the, for this purpose, elf eye selection here. And you can also go heterochromia too, which is cool. So you can, if you want 2 different colored eyes, you can go with that. There's also something that can happen to your character in Act 1 that'll give you a second eye, so be mindful of that anytime that you might have some, you know, maybe surgeries around the eyes. Then you can choose a makeup, and there's actually some pretty cool options here. I don't know anything about makeup, but I think these wing looks look kind of cool. You can also add color to it, give it a metallic tint or glossy tint. Really, you got the freedom to choose what you want. So that's that for the makeup. Hair is where things get really interesting though, because there's a whole lot of options, and if you mod it, there's even more options for hair. What's cool about hair is you can have highlights in it. So I like to go with something like with blue highlights, and I like the white hair. That's something that I go with often in my characters. But another thing you can do is you can add more intensity of graying to make it a bit more white, or you can have it a little bit different color there. So there's a lot of freedom to make the hair look how you want it to look, which I think is really nice. So there's some, like the way that the highlights work is different from hairstyle to hairstyle. So as you go through them, you're going to see some split the color halfway down the middle. Let's see, I think it's one of these hairstyles that has the split color. It's very interesting. I think that there's a lot of options here for someone that wants to, you know, make their character look specifically how they want to look. Now, this is a role-playing game. I made my first character look like myself, and I thought that was kind of, I don't know, I've been enjoying not playing as a character that looks like myself. In my first playthrough, I just made it tall, have a beard, have a hairstyle similar to mine. But my second playthrough, I started to get creative, making it look a little bit different, and I think that just makes it very unique. So one of the nice things about Baldur's Gate 3 is the freedom of expression that you get through your character. So there's a lot of freedom here that you can make it look however you want to make it look, and there's sliders to give it the perfect look. So I think it's really well done how you can choose different hairstyles like this. But yeah, mess around with the hair. I think that's going to be one of the most impactful ways to make your character look different. You can also add in beards if you want to have a beard on your character. For the purposes of mine, I won't, but I think I went with this beard for my first character, and that'll look pretty cool. So yeah, there's a lot of different options. I also recommend coming back to the faces once you've selected how you're going to have your hair look, because some of these can just look wildly different depending on how you have your hair. Now, you might recognize this look. This is one of my storm sorcerers that I often use. This is how I make them look. I give them the blue earrings, blue hair, because his electricity's color blue. So, yeah, I go with that usually. You can also randomize the appearance. But, yeah, I think that is pretty good for that. So, we made our character. You got all these different options here. It's fun to pick a interesting background too. I just want to highlight this as well because this is an important part. If you have the soldier background, you do get different skills too. So you get athletic checks, increased athletic checks, and intimidation checks, depending on what you choose as your background. So yeah, messing around with this. I just want to go over some of the basics of character creation in Baldur's Gate 3 because I've been playing this game a lot. I've customized a ton of different tabs. Tav is the name of the create a character, and Dark Urge is the evil character that you can create as part of the origin here, or you can just play as one of the original origin characters. I think Gale has some of the coolest content because he's got a lot of things that are very fleshed out, and you get a cat. So if you don't want to make a character, Gale's a pretty cool guy to play as. Because I think that a lot of these characters have a lot of personality to them. When you play as a character, they don't talk as much. So I think that is best just to create your own character, make it look how you want to look, because you're going to be seeing them often in dialogue. So yeah, that's how to create a character in Baldur's Gate 3. Just want to touch on that because it was requested of me. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you in the next video.